Text on screen, pattern tangerine background.
Women with disabilities leading the fight against gender-based violence during the pandemic.
A white female with below shoulder length golden brown wavy hair wearing corded earbuds addresses their webcam.
What I would like to share with the community or the society around the world, and everybody listeners, listen, women with disabilities.
Text on screen, listen to women with disabilities, then photos, 2 ethnically diverse women, one using sign language communicating.
It is so important for the world.
Next, a group of smiling black female leaders sitting, standing, or in wheelchairs wearing bright pink and orange shirts with Wild Nigeria on front. Many hold up their hands, peace signs, thumbs up, holding hands, and other gestures of empowerment. The first woman.
I remember research for the World Bank that women with disabilities suffers 10 times more aggression for.
Text on screen on pattern turquoise background. Disabled women and girls are 10 times more likely to be victims of violence.
Girls and women without disabilities. And for me, it's so strong. It's very strong.
A Mongolian woman, dark hair pulled into a neat bun, signs to camera while narrator speaks.
Gender-related violence did not come suddenly in connection with COVID-19. This is a real problem that has existed before and will continue to exist.
A navy blue background with a bright turquoise projection map appears. Specific countries become highlighted in orange: Haiti, Brazil, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, and Mongolia.
In 6 countries, disabled women activists are leading innovative changes to ensure gender-based violence services during the COVID-19 pandemic are inclusive.
The woman with the golden brown hair now sitting in a sunny location is Mila Guedes, AIM. A small animated globe appears right corner showing Brazil's location, then photos cycle through.
I am Mila from Brazil. Because women with and without disabilities.
A group of diverse women and one man asked for COVID-19 hold certificates in front of a sign reading "Mobilizing Women Leaders with Disabilities for Inclusive Responses During the COVID-19 Pandemic."
Experiencing increased violence during the pandemic.
Next photo, a group of diverse women with disabilities, some using mobility aids, one wearing a pink hijab, practice a self-defense activity.
We are working with feminist organizations, the police department, healthcare.
Next photo, 8 men and women in discussion sitting at a conference table.
And the social assistant professionals and women with disabilities.
Next photo, a brightly colored columned document from Caliandra with a drawn female figure hugging her legs and seated on grass titled "Women with Disabilities Who Are Victims of Violence and Invisibility." The document's pages are revealed one page at a time with a quote at top. The hand that caresses is the same that stones, and a bright pink illustrated wheelchair at the bottom left corner. Next page, this violence has names and there are many.
To develop coordinated responses to gender-based violence.
I am Ekaite from Nigeria.
On patterned turquoise background, Ekiete Umo addresses the camera. A black woman, large silver hoop earrings and brown glasses with hair swept off forehead and pulled back, wearing a brightly patterned blouse and bright orange scarf draped over one shoulder. White text on screen, Ekiate Umo, Family-Centered Initiative for Challenged Persons, FACICP, Disability Plus, and a small animated globe appears showing Nigeria's location.
We are conducting a workshop.
Video from the workshops. One black woman holds a large paper pad as another reads aloud and signs while a third holds the microphone.
With disabled women, government agencies, and GBV service providers.
Next photo, a black woman with hair tightly coiled and pulled back wearing a kente cloth patterned jacket takes notes with a bright pink marker as diverse women observe. She then speaks to the group on mic.
To develop guidelines for inclusive GBV interventions.
I am Mose from Haiti.
On a patterned navy background, Mose Francois, a black woman, addresses the camera wearing an orange blouse dotted with white pearls, dark black hair twists pulled away from her face on one side. Mose Francois, Filles et Besoins Spéciaux pour la Réforme, FIBESR. An animated small globe appears pointing to Haiti. As she speaks, photos cycle. Mose continues as a group of diverse Haitian women sit at a circular table, 2 masked, one speaking into a microphone, a laptop beside her. Next photo, a male holds open a book and reads into a microphone as a female signs. Next, several informational documents for making points of service for women survivors of violence accessible. Mayusa at top, globe points to Haiti.
Because so many GBV services are not inclusive of women with disabilities, we are promoting a virtual awareness campaign on key actions to take to adapt GBV services to include women with disabilities.
I'm Manik from Sri Lanka.
Monique addresses camera sitting in an office setting, long black hair pulled back, wearing a long-sleeved peach blouse. Monique Gunaratne, Employers Federation of Ceylon. A small animated globe in upper right points to Sri Lanka. As she speaks, photos cycle through. A bright pink headscarved woman wearing dark sunglasses finger spells into the hand of a younger woman wearing a knit cap.
Because majority of women with disabilities live in rural areas and they do not get information in accessible formats, we are developing the Be Safe mobile app.
A hand appears holding a cell phone showing the Be Safe mobile app.
To share information about responding to gender-based violence and where to access services.
Two other masked women holding a certificate together in front of the large sign for inclusive responses.
Most of the women and girls with disabilities from the very grassroots level,
One younger and one older in a brightly colored sari.
did not know where to get GBV services
Next, a photo of a gray-haired woman sitting in a wheelchair in a self-defense workshop.
and how, if they are victimized on GBV, what to do, where to put complaints.
Next photo, a classroom. A black woman holds her white cane in front of her, shoulder height towards a white woman who holds it as it rests on her shoulder. The class watches.
And what are their rights. Now they are sensitized on all these services.
I am Duya from Mongolia.
On a textured navy background, Dalamsaran Jigjid stands, signs to camera. Dalamsaran Jigjid, Culture Center for the Deaf. She signs as a narrator speaks. A small animated globe points to Mongolia. Videos roll.
Because disabled women need access to information during this pandemic,
Two women masked outside in wheelchairs wearing winter coats quickly wheel down a street on a bright day. A trio of individuals in winter coats, arms linked, two on the outside using white canes, walk on a paved path on a bright day. Animated globe points to Mongolia.
we're creating a handbook on accessing resources for women who have been affected by gender-based violence. There are many textbooks and manuals on reducing gender-based violence and ensuring gender equality in our country.
A document appears, white with dark purple Mongolian text. Pages quickly turn, illustrating various disabilities.
However, it does not specifically address the issues of women with disabilities. We have tried to solve the problem with this guide.
We don't train there as well.
On an orange pattern background, Ramatu Princess Kanu in a lemon chiffon colored blouse. Women with disabilities yearning for equal opportunities. WODYEO, a black female with shoulder-length straight black hair. Narrator off-screen speaks as video of princess speaking and photos cycle through.
We have done trainings on how service providers should relate with persons with disability.
A diverse group of individuals wearing masks with the logo WODYEO.
And how women with disabilities can come boldly to report on any issues where it affects them in human rights areas, so they can feel free knowing that they are included in those services.
Now Susan Siegel speaks to a webcam, a Caucasian female with long gray hair, bangs on forehead, scarf round her neck and a black blouse. Mobility International, USA, Mayusa.
This project not only enabled the funding to go to the disabled women leaders, but it enabled all of us to work together and to share ideas together.
A slideshow of group shots, diverse groups of women sharing and communicating ideas, some in wheelchairs, some with mobility devices, some with white canes, some in lecture settings, indoors and out.
So my message would be, this has to be the beginning of something very different. That every time there's funding for GBV, for women's issues, for getting vaccinations during COVID, whatever it is, it must go to disabled women leaders. This project has proven that it works, that the communities are changing, that disabled women leaders are feeling more powerful, that they're being heard, that disabled girls can look up to these disabled women and see the change that's happening, that this project has to be a catalyst for changing how we fund things, who is on the planning committees, and how we all work together. We are women with disabilities, And this finally has been a project to say, let us start doing things differently. Let us let disabled women lead the way.
Now, Monique.
For me, as a woman with a disability, I was able to, make a big noise among other women and women organizations and women networks.
As she speaks, a slideshow of empowered women connecting at tables, one typing into a laptop and in self-defense workshops, then back to Dalam Sarin with narrator off screen.
That we as women with disabilities could do a lot to bring a change.
In making the video that we have done with women leaders in the disability community and working towards gender-based violence reduction, that process of making the video was incredible. And we realized that we as women with disabilities can lead and that we can take on so much work.
Moz.
For me, this project was the opportunity for all these stakeholders working in the GBV sector.
A montage of empowered individuals in workshops and meetings.
To know exactly what they should do or what they can do to make their services accessible to women with disabilities victims of GBV.
Narrator reads text on screen.
It's time for governments, civil society organizations, and anyone concerned with gender-based violence during the pandemic to do things differently. Here are some actions you need to take to ensure your programs are inclusive. Ensure offices and shelters for abuse survivors are accessible. Add ramps, handrails, and accessible toilets. Circulate information through various formats, such as audio, video, images, text, braille, and sign language interpretation. Set up text messaging systems to make GBV hotlines accessible for deaf people. Dedicate funds in every budget to make activities accessible for people with disabilities. Train your staff on the rights of people with disabilities and how to recognize signs of violence specific to people with disabilities. For example, violence perpetrated by caregivers or family members. Most importantly, partner with disabled women and disabled women's organizations. Engage women with disabilities as an integral part of planning and leading GBV initiatives.
Mila.
Women with disabilities, it's together change the world.
Ekaite.
Disabled women leaders leading the way.
Moz.
Disabled women leaders leading the way.
Dula with narrator off screen.
Disabled women leaders leading the way.
Monique.
Women leaders with disabilities are leading the way.
Princess.
Disabled women leaders leading the way.
Narrator reads text on screen.
To ensure your programs and organizations are including disabled women as leaders and beneficiaries during the pandemic and for the future, contact Mobility International USA at miusa.org. Featuring disabled women activists: Mila Guerres, Brazil, Aimé. Mose Francois, Haiti. Filles à la besoin spéciaux pour la réforme, Fibers. Dulceram Jigjid, Mongolia, Cultural Center for the Deaf. Ekate Umo, Nigeria, Family Centered Initiative for Challenged Persons, FASIP, Disability Plus. Ramatu Princess Kanu, Sierra Leone, Women with Disabilities Yearning for Equal Opportunities. Mani Gunarante, Sri Lanka, Employers Federation of Ceylon. Susan Siegel, United States, Mobility International USA. Created by Mobility International USA. Produced by Capelli Miles. Music by Reginald Robinson. Select photos and footage courtesy of Darcy Keyfield and local partners. Copyright Mobility International USA 2021. All rights reserved by MIUSA. Do not use, reproduce, download, distribute, alter, or transfer any part of the video or images from this production without MIUSA's prior written permission.